Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to Peter Watches TV. And I'm so excited to be back with another reality TV video today. Today I'm going to talk about The Valley. I realized I was like looking through my list of videos to make over here. I have a list of probably 10 or 15 shows. Well, more than that, because I previously didn't cover any of the shows that I'd watched throughout the better part of the beginning of this year that weren't reality shows. So I think I'm going to go back and cover some of those. So many people are asking me to cover and watch and cover Your Honor. That's on Netflix. And it's so interesting because people are like, have you watched the Netflix show Your Honor? And I'm like, I watched Your Honor when it was actually a Showtime show. I caught up on the first season, and the second season I watched in real time, and I loved it. Your Honor is fantastic. So if you guys would like me to do a review of Your Honor, I can do that over here. People ask me about like Apples Never Fall and things like that. I've watched that. There's so many shows that I've watched that I never did videos about over here because I was just doing reality TV. But today we're going to do a return to reality TV, okay? Two decisions, administrative decisions that I have made that I need to share with you guys is that, number one, I have decided that I think I might also, if I watch a movie and I want to review it, not every movie, but over on my Peter Does Stuff channel, I have a movie club, Peter's Movie Club, that every Friday I announce a movie, and we're watching a movie together over there. So if you guys want to watch, they're all movies that meant something to me in my past. So like last week's movie was Trip to Bountiful. This week's movie is To Kill a Mockingbird. And you'll have to find out. This week's movie that I've picked for this week is a really, really good one. So anyway, it's my birthday month. And so I'm picking movies over there that are all like big favorites of mine, or movies that really had like some kind of impact on me in some way or another. So anyway, but yeah, so I was like looking through different, streaming apps last night. I was like looking at new movies that had come out and stuff. And my husband now, he has kind of resorted to watching more movies and streaming TV shows. He's streaming, like binging Shameless right now. And every time he watches it, I'm like, what are you watching? He's like, ugh, Shameless. He's like, I can hardly get through it. But he's like he's like 6 seasons into it. So he's not going to stop it now. But he said it's so dark. I'm like, do you think I would like it? Because so many people have recommended it to me. He's like, I really don't think that you would like it. He said, I actually think that it would be too much for you. But he's going to finish that anyway. So he's binge watching Shameless, and House of Dragons just came out. He's a big Game of Thrones fan, and so he's excited about that. And then we have the shows that we watch together, like RuPaul's Drag Race and stuff like that, which, by the way, if you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, last week, it was interesting during the roast. Somebody in the roast, their jokes were all stolen. I was sitting there and I was like, I know these jokes. And I was like, I don't remember where I heard these jokes. And then my husband last night sent me this TikTok, and it's that person's roast right next to Nikki Glazer, the comedian. And it's literally like they stole her jokes. And I was like, that's seriously problematic. But anyway, so we watch RuPaul's Drag Race together. We watch The Real Housewives together. We're watching Dubai. Orange County is getting ready to start. So we watch those. But I realized in going through all my videos that I hadn't done a review of the finale and this season, the first season, premiere season of The Valley, which is the spinoff of Vanderpump Rules. So I want to do that video today. Oh, but these were two decisions that I made, administrative decisions. I like saying that, management decisions. I'm a one-man show, so I'm the administrator, the CEO, the CFO, the manager, and the shift supervisor of Peter Watches TV over here. But anyway, the two decisions that I made is that if I watch a movie from time to time, I thought I would keep it over in my review video, but I don't think that I'm going to do that. If it's like a new, like, blockbuster movie that comes out, well, I think I'll just keep it all over here. Somebody told me that I should change my channel and call it Peter Watches Stuff, but I'm not going to do that. We're not going through another title change over here, okay? So we're going to keep it Peter Watches TV, but I might do movies from time to time, too, that are like streaming movies that are out, right? Not all the time, but if it's something that I feel like I want to talk about, I'm going to do that. The other administrative decision that I have made is that I did a review of, I'm going back and I'm watching all the seasons of Survivor. So last fall, that was season 44. I started watching again. I hadn't watched it in years and years and years. So I started watching Survivor again last year. And then I watched season 45, okay? And then I just finished season 46 that was just out. Season 47 is coming out in the fall. Then I went back and I watched season 40... maybe 45, 40. No, I watched 45, 46, 47's coming out in the fall, and then I went back and I watched 44. The problem when you watch them is that they say things about past seasons, like at tribal councils and stuff like that. They'll say like, oh, well, the reason I signed on was because Carolyn, and everybody's like, oh, I loved Carolyn, who's going to be in the next season of Traitors, by the way. And so then you're like, who's Carolyn? Then you want to go back and watch that season. Then when you're watching that season, which was 44, they're all talking about something that happened in season 45, or season 41, I mean. So then you're like, I want to watch season 41. So I was like, no, I'm going to start watching them from the very first one all the way through. I think I watched like the first maybe 4 or 5. I think I stopped a lot sooner than I thought I did. Or maybe here and there I watched this season. I don't know. I'm currently on season 3, which is in Africa. And I don't remember much of the season at all. I think I remember who wins, but I don't remember much of the season at all. So it's like watching it for the first time. So the decision that I made was that I did a review of season 1 because it was so interesting to me how drastically different season 1 of Survivor is than season 46. I mean, it's a completely different show and setup, right? Not just the new era of Survivor, but I mean, it's just completely different. The building of alliances and everything like that, the attitude towards ethics and morality on the show, and people constantly talking about, do you want to stick with your ethics and morality, or is it about winning $1 million? All of that, right? And so it's very interesting to me. But I didn't think that I would cover every season. I've changed my mind on that. I think I'm going to cover every season of Survivor over here as I watch it. So coming up in the next couple days, I will be doing my review of season 2 of Survivor because I just finished it. Tina wins season 2, and I did remember that. It's funny, like when I get off, like as soon as they land on the beach or wherever they're at, I immediately, if I've watched that season, I remember who won. And so I remembered that Tina Wesson won, and I knew that Richard Hatch won because everybody knows Richard Hatch won on season 1. Season 3, I don't want to say it because I don't want to maybe I got it wrong. But I'm almost positive that I know who wins season 3. So I think I'm going to cover every season over here. If you'd like to watch them with me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start like at the end of my review. I will tell you that I'm going to start the next episode. So what I'm going to try to do is, like, let's say if I finish season 3, the next day I will do my review of season 3. It's easier for me to do reviews of shows if I do them like the very next day. Like The Valley is going to be hard for me today because it's been 2 weeks. So what I remember and what I don't remember is going to be hard, but I have some strong opinions about it. So like when I finish season 3, the very next day I will do next day or 2, I'll do my review. And if you guys want to watch like season 4 with me, then you guys can watch, if you want to go back in time and watch all the seasons of Survivor. All the seasons of Survivor are on Paramount. When I get done with Survivor, I'm going to go back and watch Amazing Race and do the same thing. I thought I was going to go back and I was going to watch them at the same time, but I think I'm going to go through all the Survivors. I'm binging them literally like a season every 2 days. Every season's about 14 episodes. They're pretty easy to get through, and I'm just loving it. I'm also getting ready to start season 1 of Sister Wives because a lot of people have asked me to watch Sister Wives. So I'm going to binge watch Sister Wives this summer too because I think the new season comes out in the fall, and a lot of really like tragic events happened last year, and I've kind of followed the stuff online. So I'm watching Sister Wives as well. If you guys would like, any of you out there that have never watched it, that would like to watch it from the beginning with me. So I just want to kind of make those things because I know that people like to watch the shows with me, and like, you know, see what I want to watch, because somebody reached out to me and they said, oh, my husband and I are binging a Survivor too, just like you. So I thought, oh, well, that's perfect, and that kind of gave me the idea. And I was like, if people want to binge watch Survivor from the very beginning, then we can go through and we can talk about it together, right? So I'm currently watching season 3 of Survivor, and when I get done with that, I will start season 4 immediately. So, and I'm also catching up on Below Deck Mediterranean. Then I'm going to, once I have 2 seasons left of that I have to finish, 2.5 seasons. Once I get done with that, I'm going to start binge watching Below Deck. So if you've never watched Below Deck, the original, I've never watched the original. I'm going to watch it from season 1, and I'll do reviews. I kept on thinking this is stupid because nobody cares. But I think like with Game of Thrones, Grey's Anatomy, Below Deck, all these shows that I'm going to go back, Sister Wives from the very beginning and binge, I think I am going to do seasonal reviews of each one of them. There's no reason why I shouldn't. So anyway, yeah, because I just love talking about TV. I think you guys know that by now, right? All right, so let's get into talking about The Valley, the first season of The Valley. Well, if you watch my very first video of talking about The Valley, basically what I said, I have not gone back and watched it, so I don't remember exactly what I said, so don't quote me. But basically what I said was that I was not impressed, okay? And that it was just like a lot, it was like watching, I think I said something like, it was basically like watching like a reality show of all your friends that like go to bed early and take their kids to soccer games on Sunday and hang out and have brunch and things like that. And that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And what's so funny is that what I hated about, it's so funny because when I did that first video, somebody commented on it and they said, good for you, you don't have to watch it anymore then. I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize that somebody takes such offense to my opinion about the Valley, but hey, I get it, okay? I get very strong opinions about reality shows too. So anyway, but to that person, I'll tell you, I did keep on watching it and I absolutely fell in love with it. I loved the Valley. In fact, I will say that the Valley like was so much better than Vanderpump Rules this season. Vanderpump Rules, I did a video about this already, but it's done. It's over. They need to just be done with it, right? The Valley was so good, so drama-filled, and I actually think that what I kind of liked about it was that it was kind of people that are like between me and my husband's age group, all hanging out together, talking about real life, trying to, you know, facilitate having a job, having a marriage, having kids. We don't have kids, but most of our friends do. All this kind of stuff, while at the same time having a friend group that there's still kind of a little bit of drama in from time to time, and I loved it, okay? But I do have some very strong opinions about these things. First of all, I feel like Kristen Doute. So really the whole show is built around Kristen Doute from Vanderpump Rules and Jax from Vanderpump Rules, who got fired from Vanderpump Rules from racist allegations. I don't know why Bravo has now deemed them appropriate to have their own show, but apparently enough time's been had in Time Out that they can have their own show now. So the whole show is built around Kristen and really Jax and his wife, Brittany Cartwright, that was also on Vanderpump Rules, who I adore. And so I have to tell you, I went into this show and I was not a fan of Kristen Doute before I started this show. I couldn't stand Kristen Doute on any Vanderpump season, any of them. I was always waiting for her to redeem herself, and I never thought she did. I really did not like Kristen Doute. And in fact, I just was watching her on The GOAT. I'm watching The GOAT right now too. So I was not a fan of Kristen Doute, okay? I was really hoping Stassi and Beau from Vanderpump Rules, and they've been asked, they might come back on some show they're kind of hinting at, but they didn't want to be on the Valley because they don't really hang out with these people. So I didn't really think I was going to love it because I'm not a big Jax fan, although I have a soft side about Jax. I don't know what it is. It has nothing to do with his looks because he's just not my type whatsoever. But there's something about Jax that he just is like, he's just such a screw up all the time. I think what happened in the Valley for me with Jax this season, my husband won't watch the Valley because he hates Jax. Oh, he doesn't hate him, but he just really doesn't like to watch him on any kind of show whatsoever. And so for me, what was really hard was that Jax Taylor, you can really tell now in his 40s, hasn't grown up at all and takes no accountability and is rather mean to especially his wife, Brittany. And to me, it was where it was funny kind of in his 20s, it was 30s. It comes across as mean now in his 40s, and it's not enjoyable to watch. But he's kind of the ringleader of the whole show, and it's all around him and Kristen Doute and things like that. And then there is, so this is the one thing I had an issue with, is that I felt like Kristen Doute was painted as the villain of the show the entire season, like everybody hated her. And it was so interesting to me, like, there were all these rumors and gossip going on that Kristen Doute was the one that was telling people that Michelle was having an affair on her husband Jesse, when in reality, and Kristen goes out to lunch with Jasmine. Like, this part was so interesting to me. Kristen shows the text to Jasmine where Jax has texted her exactly what to say and what not to say, that it came exactly from him. And Jasmine's like, they show her in the confessional, and she's like, yeah, I'm not sure I believe it. And I'm like, you literally saw the text messages, right? Then every dinner that they're at, Kristen Doute, I mean, she is just like piled up on. They are so mean to her. Now, like I said, I'm not a fan of Kristen, but this season won me over. Because I do feel like Kristen Doute has grown up a lot. I do feel like she takes a lot of accountability. And what I loved for Kristen, and I know a lot of people don't like her boyfriend Luke, but Luke is the first boyfriend in the history of Kristen Doute on television that has ever stood up for her. When he got at that dinner, he said, come on, we're going. You're not going to speak to my girlfriend that way. I was like, okay, finally, a man that loves Kristen Doute enough to stand up for her. I was like so happy for her in that moment. I just feel like every moment was always Kristen's the bad person, Kristen's the bad person, when in reality, it was always Janet that was always behind the scenes, and she was stirring crap up and all this kind of stuff. The thing was, you couldn't make it that it was about Janet, because Janet would always say, I'm pregnant. It was always about Janet being pregnant. And in fact, at one point towards the very end, she's had her baby. At the end of the show, she's had her baby, so she's not pregnant anymore. At the very end, she's in the opening of Jax's restaurant. She's getting into it with somebody, and she says, please don't speak to me that way. I'm pregnant. And I thought, well, if you knew there was going to be drama, the cameras are on, and you're coming to a bar, and you're pregnant, and you know this is the case, why would you come to that? Why would you just not opt out of it? You know, like Danny and what's his wife? Is it Nia? I love them. Like, they are the most level-headed, best-looking couple on the show. They are so nice. I love that woman. I think she is such a kind woman. I think she sees into people's hearts. I really love them on the show. They're very much a balancing act. They might be a little bit too boring for the show. I don't know that they'll last if they bring on some new cast members. But Janet, for me, and everybody's talking about her husband is Boresville to me, okay? Like, I'm, like, watching it, and I'm like, is his name Jason? I think it's Jason and Janet. Jason is so boring to me. I mean, and, like, always is, like, believing everything that comes out of his wife. And, like, literally they show scenes, and she's on the phone, and she's talking to this person, and she's talking to that person, all this kind of stuff. And it was, like, especially when, what's their friend? Well, I can't think of his name now. The guy, Brittany and Kristen's friend, when he calls Janet, why can't I think of his name? I want to say it's like Trevor or Travis. Why can't I think of his name? Anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. So anyway, the gay best friend of all of theirs, he calls Janet because he's upset that he's not invited to Big Bear for the baby moon thing. And she's got her other two gay friends sitting there. She's got him on speakerphone and she's talking to him. Then she says to him, she uses that later. That's who she was talking to in the bar. And she says to him, I had you on speakerphone. He was listening. He goes, you had me on speakerphone? Like, that was a private conversation. And she sees nothing wrong with that. Janet is literally the master manipulator of this entire group. And it's so baffling to me how people don't see it. I will say this. I do believe that because she was pregnant, I've noticed this a lot on Bravo shows, that when women are pregnant on Bravo shows, they're given an easier time for that season because they don't want anything to be harmful for their pregnancy or anything like that, or the stress. And I totally understand that. I get that, right? But it'll be interesting this next season, unless Janet gets pregnant, but they're filming right now, and she just had her baby, but it's not impossible that she couldn't get pregnant again. But unless, I think they said something about getting pregnant again. If she's not pregnant this season, I think season 2 of The Valley is going to be Janet's season, because I think it's going to be hardcore about that. The season ends with Brittany leaving Jax, and then Michelle leaving Jesse 3 days after the camera stopped rolling. Was that interesting to anybody else? I was like, oh, so she completely kept this marriage together just for the show. 3 days later, she moved into not a new apartment, a new house, okay? Split business ties with him. I mean, she had it all planned out 3 days after the camera stopped rolling. It's so interesting to me. I mean, we are now in the season of Bravo where it's the breaking the fourth wall like Lala Kent did on Vanderpump Rules, right? Where you're talking right to the producers and the camera. I mean, it's now, everything is for the camera. And what I will say to you is, I didn't like Jesse that much on the season, but at the end, how much he loved his daughter and cared about his daughter and was willing to do anything for her to make sure that she was raised in the right situation, and how he just kind of talked. I mean, Michelle speaks so nasty to him, and in retrospect, Jesse is very arrogant and ego-driven. I think we see that, right? But we also see that, in retrospect, his wife was cheating on him. She was telling people about it. He had no clue. I mean, imagine that betrayal. And there you have him at the end, and he's just sitting in this house being as nice to her as possible, and she's talking to him in such a shitty manner. I'm like, seriously, if anybody talked... She's like, Jesse, and I'm like, if anybody talked to me that way, I'd say, it's time for you to go. Like, you need to leave my house, okay? I don't care if you're my ex-wife, you're my wife, we're working things out. She makes it very clear she wants nothing to do with him. Why? Because she's already moved on. She's with somebody else. She posts that person all over Instagram, right? The other interesting split for me was Brittany and Jax. I wasn't sure if the whole thing was done for production value or marketing for the show. I do think it's interesting that they saved it till the very last episode. I will say that. And they picked up after the filming ended to show that. I mean, that's kind of a Vanderpump Rules kind of thing. They do that a lot on Vanderpump Rules, where they pick up after the season has ended. So I wasn't really sure. I thought the build-up to it and explaining Jax and Brittany's relationship and trying to work on it, and that Brittany had had enough, I thought really validated the fact that she was like, I'm not going to be spoken to that way this way anymore. And I really was happy that for once Brittany stood up for herself instead of always standing up for Jax, which she does. I respect the shit out of Brittany, okay, for being a loyal wife, but there comes a point when it's not about loyalty to your husband, it's about loyalty to yourself as well. And if you're being spoken to that way, that's not appropriate. And I loved when she finally stood up for herself. And my favorite moment of the entire season of The Valley was when she put Jack on the spot. That conversation in the bedroom at the very end, when she's coming to get some stuff to take it to her Airbnb, and he says something about the split. He goes, well, I think it's been good. Like, aren't you enjoying it? I thought, he's not even fighting for her. Like, he doesn't even want to get back together with her. He thinks she's either going to just move back in, which I think they're living back together. I think, I read somewhere that they're living back together now, which is, well, I guess we'll see next season, right? But he just assumes that she'll come back in. And so he's like, well, I think it's been good, you know? And then she says, did you schedule the therapy appointment? And he goes, yeah, it's really hard to get in. And she's like, did you schedule it? And he's like, yeah, I scheduled it. And she goes, when did you schedule it? And he goes, yesterday. And I love that Brittany said this. This is the breaking the fourth wall. When she said, you scheduled it yesterday knowing that cameras were going to pick back up again today, just for camera. You did this just for the show, Jax. And I thought it was so great because it was Brittany showing how much everybody on that show does for the show, including Jax Taylor, and that everything that he's always done in Vanderpump Rules or The Valley is all just for the show. And so here we are. It's so interesting now, you know, going back to season 1 of Survivor, where reality TV started with that, and then, you know, years before that, The Real World, where we had reality TV capturing reality. Now we have reality television stars that are stars for showing their real life, that are picking and choosing what they're going to show, and people saying that it's not our right to know those things when they signed up to be a reality star and show their real life. I think we have a right to see all of it. That's my opinion, okay? If they signed up for it, they should show all of it. That's just what I think about it. And I was glad that Brittany said that in there to show the Valley. But I'll tell you this, my opinion changed. From episode 1 to the very last episode, I think I was 3 episodes in, and I was like, I love this show. Like, I am so into this show. Why can't I think of what the friend's name is? Brad, Brent, Travis, Trent. I can't think of what that guy's name is. You're the one that they always said he had a toupee. Everybody kept on saying he had like a toupee the whole season, and I'm like, can you say toupee anymore? I don't know if that's a bad word or not, but that's what we used to call him back in the day. But a piece, a wig. But anyway, it doesn't look like that to me. It doesn't look like that to me at all. I actually think he and Jasmine add a lot to the show. What I don't understand is why Jasmine doesn't have her partner on the show. They never show her partner on the show. I wish they would make Travis. I wish they would make Jasmine and whatever that dude's name is more of the show, because I actually like them. And he stirs up a lot of stuff for being a supporting character. So anyway, I think they deserve their peach, if you know what I mean. Anyway, let me know what you thought about The Valley in the comment section below. And if you're going to watch Survivor with me, let me know, or Sister Wives, let me know in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.